Assalamualaikum and a very good evening to Prof. And today our group will present on the guideline of OSH for lighting at workplace. And this group consists of me, myself, Nur Afrika Mariam binti Baharudin, Siti Raihan Muhammad Fuad, Muhammad Nuraiman bin Muhammad Fazil, Siti Najiha and Nur Suryana. So for the introduction to the lighting, the adequate lighting at the workplace is aimed to enable employees to perform their work comfortably and efficiently, to create a pleasant atmosphere and give employees a sense of well-being, to reduce the visual fatigue and discomfort among the workers, to reduce accident, injury and reduces absenteeism and increases staff efficiency and productivity in the industry. So for the purpose of the guideline, this guideline is to identify the potential hazard arising from the work activity under the current lighting condition, to evaluate the risk of poor lighting, and to decide improvement measures related to the adequate lighting in protecting the employees.
So I proceed with the lighting in the view of safety and health. So it is actually very important, especially for the employers, to provide or to install a good lighting system in the workplace so that their workers feel safe and also comfortable while doing their work. So here are some of the benefits of good lighting, which are to comfortably see what they are doing, and this can prevent the workers from getting the straining of the eyes. The second one, to make work easier and more productive, of course. The third one, to draw attention to hazardous operations and equipment. If in the workplace we have enough lighting so that we can easily to recognize or notice any new hazards that come in. And the last one, to prevent costly error and accidents. So for your information, a bad lighting system in the workplace can cause accidents to occur. So now I will proceed to health aspects of lighting. So if in the workplace have a bad lighting system, this can give negative impacts to the health of the workers. So for example, like visual fatigue. Okay, some of the symptoms for the visual fatigue like painful irritation at the eyes, conjunctivitis, breakdown of vision like a blurring vision, reduced power of accommodation, reduced visual sensitivity, and other symptoms like headache, fatigue, and also giddiness. Okay, the next example of health impacts is the tissue damage. Tissue damage can cause like from the infrared radiation, for example, and also radiation that induce a chemical reaction in the tissue of the eyes. Radiation heats or burns exposed tissue in our eyes. Like I mentioned before, it is very important for the workplace to have a good lighting system, but how much lighting must be provided depends on what. So actually the level and type of lighting needed for safety in the working areas depends on, first, the type of work being carried out or effectively reveal the task. It depends on what type of work or what type of tasks that have been done by the workers. And the second one is the hazard associated with it. And the third one, safe and comfortable visual working environment. So in the guideline, lighting guideline by DOSH, there are some guideline standard that need to be followed by the workplace. Depends on their workplace area, working area.
Okay, next I will proceed with lighting equipment. Actually, there are three components of lighting equipment. The first one is lamp, the second one is lighting fitting, and the third one is the control systems. Actually, lamps are the characteristic of lamp should have lamp prefix letter, construction and appearance, luminous efficacy, light and color rendering, and also run up time. Actually, different lamps are produced have a different properties. The example of lamps such as tungsten, LED, and also fluorescent. Second lighting equipment is a lighting fitting, which is actually lighting fitting is used to support and protect the lamp, and also is provide the electrical connection and be safe and should be safe during installation and operation. So the example of lighting fittings such as pole mounted, wall mounted, and also ceiling mounted. Control system is a simple mechanical switch to sophisticated automatic control system. So the control system should be placed at the reachable area, not across the machinery. Example of control system such as switch, dimmers, timers, and also sensors. Okay, the next one is lighting installation. So before we want to do lighting installation, we should establish the purpose of the installation. Okay, the first one. The second one, the condition in which it will operate. So, okay, the third one is any constraint imposed at the workplace. So for the interior lighting, they are comprised of three types of lighting, which is general lighting, localized lighting, and also local lighting. So for general lighting is provide a uniform illumination. So there's the uniform illumination across the work area. So the localized lighting, it provides a level of illumination in different parts. So as you can see, there's a different illumination here at the same working area. Okay, for the local lighting which is usually a combination of a background lighting and a light fitting close to the actual work area, and it is used when the high level of illumination is needed at the small area. Actually, exterior lighting depends on the size of the area to be covered. The second one is the purpose for which it will be used. So it depends on such as work, security, and also the means of access. For the third one is the lighting maintenance. So actually, lighting maintenance depends on the equipment used and also the environment. And then for the good maintenance, we need to choose a light fitting which is resist to dirty and corrosive to environment. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, now I would like to continue our group presentation, and my part is about lighting assessment. Lighting assessment is actually the evaluation of the lighting condition and as well the level of the lighting. It includes the hazard identification and risk assessment. There are 6 steps when conducting the lighting assessment. The first one will be walkthrough inspection, where we identify the lighting condition and also the point of measurement. The next one will be conduct measurement. Prepare the instruments needed such as lux meter, and also you have to have a checklist. The checklist you can get from Appendix 2. And after that, compare the measurement data with the recommended illuminance in Appendix 1, which contain the lighting recommended for various room and activities. The third step will be recommend improvement measure. The fourth step will be writing the full report. The fifth step will be implement the recommended solution, and the last one will be record keeping for future use. And next one, I will explain more about the lux meter which you are going to use during the lighting measurement. Okay, first, the SI unit for lux meter is LX, which is lux. Okay, the steps are: expose the lux meter to the source 3 to 5 minutes until it reaches equilibrium. Check the zero reading and adjust if necessary. Adjust voltage to appropriate level, then you can start the measuring. Okay, the next one I will talk about the measurement for general lighting and specific area. For general lighting, what you need to the things that you need to measure is the length of the room, the width of the room, and also the height of the lighting above the working plane. Then insert all the data in the formula, in a room index formula. Then after you get the room index formula, refer to table 1 to get the number of measurement points. Then after you get the number of measurement points, then measure the illuminance at the center of each square, which are representing by the points, using the lux meter. Then the average illuminance is compared to the recommended illuminance in Appendix 1. That's all for the general lighting. And for specific activity, select 4 representative points, divide it into 4. Let's say this table of mine. I put my laptop for the video recording. I divide it into 4. Then I will measure each of the 4 points. The lighting measurement should be taken at the height of the work plane. So it depends on the work plane, because the laptop is facing me horizontally, so I will measure the lux meter like this. If it is reading a book, the lux meter will be vertically, and if it is inclined, then the lux meter will follow the angle, will be the same as the angle. The average illuminance is compared with the recommended illuminance in appendix 1. Then you can get the measurement data. That's all for me. Thank you.
Continue for the factor that should be considered in order to improve the lighting condition in workplace. Firstly, human factor. When someone doing the work, area around the task is linked to a lower lighting. To overcome this, by increasing the lighting to a comfortable level, by adjusting the intensity, and it will help to increase the viewing. Secondly, area to be lit. The individual should consider the size and shape of work area, the appropriate lighting, and indirect lighting. Mostly send 90 to 100% of the lighting to the ceiling. Thirdly, tasks to be done. The individual should consider the size of the object. If the object bigger, it easier for the individual to see it. Secondly, the individual also should consider the contrast between object and the background. If lower contrast, it will make it difficult to see and to differentiate between the object and the background. Lastly, equipment and furniture to be used. Flickering light is dangerous in work area with rotating machinery. It can create the illusions that make the machinery look slower. So, by using lamp with a long afterglow can overcome this factor. Okay, of assessment, the assessor should make the reporting assessment. This is the element that should be considered or included in the report. Firstly, introduction. It should be included the name and address of the workplace, date, time, and person that conducting the assessment. Secondly, the purpose of assessment. Thirdly, the equipment that used in the assessment, such as the model, serial number, and also the date of calibration. Fourth, the methodology. The assessor should describe the works that conduct in the workplace, the position of measurement point, and also detail of lighting fixtures. Fifth, the result, which included the detail of assessment and compare the lighting to the requirement or the standard, the recommendation, the purpose immediately action, and also short-term or long-term action if it necessary, and lastly, conclusion.
Basically, emergency lighting have 4 elements that we need to consider, which is feature, type, design, and procedure. For the feature, it requires to operate fully automatically and give sufficient illumination in order to enable all the equipment of the building can evacuate safely. For the type, it can be divided into 2, which is standby lighting and escape lighting. For the standby lighting, it enables essential work to continue, and escape lighting enables a building to be evacuated. So for the escape lighting, it can be divided into 3, which is escape road lighting, open area lighting, and high risk task area lighting. For the design, it need for immediate lighting output when the normal main supply fail. For example, tungsten and LED are suitable for the emergency lighting, and some mechanism is needed for connecting the lamp to the alternative supply when the normal supply fails. For the procedure, firstly, this is the procedure for the positioning of emergency lighting. Firstly, we need to define the exit and emergency exit. Next is identify the escape road and any areas that require special treatment like plants room and firefighting equipment. Next is to locate light fitting. Ensure that beside that, we need to ensure that specific items that need to be seen are clearly. For example, direction and exit sign. Lastly, ensure that the lighting outside the building is adequate for evacuation.